First, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today for this conversation about music and its health and wellness and this burgeoning digital home fitness market. Anyone who's been to a gym or has taken an exercise class knows that music is central to this experience. We all choose what gyms to go to and which instructors to take classes with, and whether or not we like the music experience plays a big role in that decision. We've seen COVID lockdown orders around the world change people's behavior in substantial ways. And no one it's how people work out, and it's such a huge part of your daily routine to stay healthy and to stay sane. Earlier this month, the Wall Street Journal stated that the pandemic has accelerated the growth of at-home fitness apps, which have relied on music as a draw to live streamed and on-demand classes led by remote instructors who have become much like influencers and DJs in their own right, introducing people to music that we've all been to fitness classes and have been turned on to music that the instructor has chosen to play inside of their classes. So once again, my name is Brian Stone, and I'm the SVP of Business Development and Digital Strategy at Universal Music Group, the world's leading music company. And as you can see, my colleagues in the digital health and wellness space have joined me for this conversation. And I'd like to give them an opportunity to quickly introduce themselves and give a summary of their role in the marketplace. Let's start with Liz, then we'll go to Tony, Courtney, and then finally Mario.
Hi, everyone. I'm Liz Moody. I'm the chair of new media at Granderson Des Rochers. I'm working with quite a few digital at-home fitness companies right now. So I've been seeing the market grow, especially since COVID started, across all different types of services. So I'm excited to talk about that.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tony Calandra. I'm the Vice President of Global Music Supervision and Programming for Peloton. I'm so honored to be here and with this panel. My main focus at Peloton is really to work directly with the instructors and our content production team on all music that's coming in and creation of programming, and also working with our incredible rights holders, which Brian's company is one of them. And I couldn't be happier to be here. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. I am Courtney Phillips. I'm the head of music at COM. Very excited to be on this panel and speaking with all of these wonderful people. And at COM, we're working to make the world happier and healthier. And I'm honored to be a part of that mission by bringing music into the fold.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mario Forsyth. I'm the head of business development in Europe for Tuned Global. We are a B2B music services platform, and we work with clients who want to utilize music in all or part of their offering to consumers. Heading up the biz dev department in Europe, I'm often the first point of contact for potential clients. So I need to work out what their requirements are, guide them through internal processes, and also facilitate discussions with rights holders. We work with numerous clients across a number of different industries, including all-you-can-eat music streaming services, social media platforms, and over the last 2 to 3 years, we've held a lot of discussions with fitness companies. It's great to be here today and really looking forward to the panel.
Thank you, guys. Liz, let's start with you. Can you give us your thoughts about the role music plays in digital wellness and how the music industry, together with fitness, is innovating to accommodate this marketplace?
Sure. Brian, as you were saying earlier, I mean, music is such a key piece of fitness generally, always has been really. It's a motivator. It's the difference between not getting excited about what you're doing and not even noticing that you're exercising because it's fun. Right now, there's such a growth in the home fitness space. We're seeing different types of home wellness and fitness services, all different areas, whether it's cycling or rowing, boxing, weight training, dance instruction, to yoga and Pilates and meditation. And there are services coming that I see on a nearly weekly basis of all sizes. Peloton clearly led the way with the hardware connected devices, but they're really all shapes and sizes of needs right now. So it's been challenging for the music industry to kind of shift and try to address the different needs from different services. I mean, in the past, when you would approach a rights holder for a license of music being used with video in general, it was more of a conversation on a track by track basis or a song by song basis. And all of the rights holders, both the labels and publishers, are now moving more towards a style of blanket licensing, like akin to what's done with music streaming services. It's still very hard to get music licensed. We're working, I think collectively the industry is working very well with the fitness services. But when I've got smaller companies that come to me, they're kind of blown away by the amount of work that it takes. So there's still, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but there's still some work to be done to make it a little bit easier. We've got to find a way to get music into fitness classes and not have it be a blocker for some of the smaller folks in particular. The Pilates store down the street that wants to stream on their own site or on Zoom. So.
Right on. Totally get that. Music licensing can be complicated. There's so many different rights holders, and in order to get everybody on board to have a robust catalog, can definitely you've got to be on a mission, right? There's a Mario. There's all kinds of complications with running a music business in this space. In order to do business, a company needs also a robust content delivery and rights management platform. Mario, what are the specific challenges that Tune Global is working to solve to ensure that the health and wellness space has the appropriate tools to run their business?
Yeah, well, I think you're absolutely right. There's a couple of questions there. Content delivery and rights management is one. The first thing to say on that is that rights management and content delivery is key to all services. Really, it's not just specific to the fitness space. So our platform already supports those requirements on a client-by-client basis straight out of the box. We can apply filters at a supplier level, which is, if you like, a label group, and then by label and ultimately by artist. I think it's important to understand that not all artists want their music on all platforms, which is why we go down to the filtering at that sort of level. I think in terms of specific challenges, it became clear after initial conversations with fitness companies that the main challenge was for Tune Global was really to be able to deliver a flexible platform with licensed content that allows instructors to curate playlists for live and on-demand classes. However, as part of that process, we also discovered that there were two clearly defined market segments, each of which required their own solutions. So the first I'd say is B2B, and we kind of term these as enterprise clients. So I'm talking about connected fitness equipment companies like Peloton, for example, standalone fitness apps, global gym brands, boutique gym chains, etc., etc. And what we used to define a B2B client was the fact that classes were recorded in a production facility. So the challenge for Tune Global was to deliver a solution that provided access to licensed content and tooling that allowed instructors to curate playlists and send these on to the production studio. In these instances, there's a clear handoff from us to the client at the point of the live recording. And generally, we deliver this service via our API integration, but we also have clients that use our application in this instance. The second market segment that we saw was what we've called B2B2C. So this is essentially individual gyms and fitness instructors that have seen significant impact from COVID and have really had to react pretty quickly. But what that's meant is they've kind of pulled together these multi-platform solutions. So you've got one application that manages your scheduling and booking, another application like Zoom, which you use to live stream your classes. And then if you want to have music more often than not, you use something like Spotify or Apple Music, but that requires the end user to have a premium subscription. Ultimately, though, what it's created is a bit of a disjointed experience. So I think there was a clear requirement for a solution that supported this business use case. And as with the B2B clients, there is the need for the instructor to be able to search and curate playlists from a licensed catalogue. But they also needed to be able to live stream classes with music included, and manage user subscriptions and class scheduling, etc. So over the past sort of 12 months, we have developed and are close to launching an application that delivers all of these functions and more. I think ultimately the challenge that we saw and the challenge that we hope we're going to meet is to be able to provide a one-stop solution for the instructor, and ultimately a much better user experience for the end user.
Great. Thanks. While we're talking about the instructor, Tony, your instructors are amazing on the Peloton platform. They're so energetic. They're stars to their own right. They're driving that the desire to work out and really getting that team spirit together. I mean, Peloton is a group of cyclists that are going together, and your instructors really use that as a theme throughout the class to build that kind of teamwork. We're all in this hard thing together.
Yeah.
How does the Peloton instructor think about music when they're creating a workout routine and using the tools that Peloton has made in order to make that happen?
Yeah, so Brian, to paint the picture, I know Peloton, we're known obviously for the bike. It's a cross-discipline fitness solution that has spin classes, it has tread, it has strength, yoga med, outdoor classes. And we have 35 instructors. So you think about those 35 instructors as almost like 35 radio stations, where each instructor has their own brand, their own music sensibility, and they're programming their classes as such. Now, when they are constructing a class, the music needs to work within the confines of their planned class. We do not go on the bike or the tread to listen to music, and we experience music. There's a big difference, right? Because music is it's going to trigger emotion. It's going to trigger endorphin, and the instructors use that in building their classes. So every song that an instructor programs has its own role and has its own place, and it's very important. And that you're going to get a unique experience, and it's going to connect the fandom of that particular instructor with the fandom of the member. And I think that's what's going to either keep you attached to an instructor because of the music they love, whether it's hip hop, it's EDM, it's country, it's rock. But there's going to be some for everyone, and you do have that ambassador who loves the music and is going to get you through that class from start to finish, and do it in a way where you feel it's a pretty cool journey. It's not just one of those tough classes you would take.
Right. Yeah, I mean, music and fitness classes, they just go so well together, and it pumps you up and it drives performance and it gets you motivated and excited. The one thing that music that you don't think about, but that also is important, is around mindfulness and meditation, right? Because Courtney, the research around those experiences over the last few decades has been really enlightening about how just taking care of yourself and being present and all of those things. In Calm, how do you see music's role in creating an environment that benefits mental health?
Yeah, well, music is one of the things that we know, data or otherwise, completely changes your mental and emotional state. Like if you think about it, if you hear a song that felt great when you originally heard it, took you back to a memory, you feel good then. If you're feeling sad and you kind of really want to lean into it, you put on Jeff Buckley's Hallelujah. We've all been there, get even sadder. So, with creativity and research, We can create music that helps you sleep when you've been struggling to sleep. It helps you calm down and chill out when you've been feeling stressed, and helps you keep you focused during your day if that's what you're looking for. So Calm's mission is to help transform people's minds as a part of making the world happier and healthier, doing it one person at a time. And music is an incredibly key part in that mission. Just in relation to how it benefits mental health. It can completely change your mental, emotional state.
So Courtney, just staying with you, I know that you guys have been doing some really interesting things with music. I want to hear about, like, what are you doing on platform? How are you creating special music experiences for Calm users?
Yeah, so we work with a lot of really talented artists in a variety of different ways. It's been a real pleasure to work with so many of them to bring their music to our users. But all of the music that we launch has a very specific purpose for our community. So, we look at the data, we look at user surveys, we talk to our community on social media. We're really in touch with, what they're looking for, what they're interested in, what they're hoping Calm can provide for them. So that's when I work with different artists to bring in what our community is asking for. So for instance, piano has been a huge request from our community. Everybody really loves that to calm down, to chill out. So, I've worked to bring in more piano music. I partnered with Nick Murphy for the launch of his first piano album, Music for Silence, which was incredibly impactful for everybody at Calm. And then we see, unsurprisingly, that the sleep category is huge. People are looking for music to help them sleep, help them stay asleep. So we've been working to increase more of the offerings there. I have more music coming from Tom Middleton, more custom sleep tracks, and working with artists that you wouldn't expect to remix their music for sleep, like Sam Smith did. So, we try to stay in tune with what people are asking for and what the data is showing us, and kind of keep a step ahead of them, so that when somebody comes to Calm looking for something to help them chill out or help them fall asleep, we have a variety of offerings from a lot of different artists, whether they're album exclusive like Nick and like Moby and Seeker Ross, or remixes like Ellie Goulding and Sam Smith, or originals like Lindsey Sterling and Moses Sumney. So, I like to work with artists in a bunch of different ways to meet all of the needs of our community, whatever those may be.
So you're able to work with all of these artists in order to make special experiences to help people relax and to be mindful and to sleep. I love that, because music affects our mood so much. It also affects our ability to perform.
Mm-hmm.
Tony, can you tell us a little bit about how Peloton uses music in order to enhance performance on your platform?
Yeah, I think it all comes down to setting the tempo of the class and pairing music with the type of class that you want to teach. So something high energy, you know what artists certain instructors are going to draw inspiration from. Especially dance classes, whether it's EDM or it's house, you're going to get that moment at 30 minutes of pure energy, and they know it's going to give them what they need to get you through. But in many respects, the classes that we have across most of our disciplines, certainly with yoga meditation, but it is putting pieces of a puzzle together with a roller coaster, right? It needs to work. So when you start on flat road and you are on a climb, and then you're at a very, very high cadence, and then descent and cool down, everything needs to work. So the music needs to be attached, and it needs to collaborate in many ways, uniquely with multiple artists, sometimes multiple genres, in a way that's really going to keep you engaged and keep you at optimum performance, right? And that's what music does. Like a certain song, as Courtney was saying, it's you hear Rocky, yet you want to drink 9 yolks and climb stairs. There's something that music will do to your brain, and we certainly embrace that, and our instructors do. Absolutely.
I keep smiling because it's really interesting. I've definitely got a go-to track, Tony, and both you and Courtney have talked about how music can I don't want to say enhance performance, but certainly make a difference to performances. And I can almost tell, you know, if you're taking a ride at home or something, you have a look at the sort of playlist pre-class, and you can almost sort of see throughout the playlist where your performance is going to peak. But I personally certainly have a go-to track. If it comes on, the fatigue falls away, the adrenaline pumps up, and off I go. So it's really interesting to hear that's a conscious decision being made on both your sides.
I think now you need to tell us which track it is.
Do I? Okay. Without wanting to appear cheesy, it's Tiesto, Adagio for strings, and recently you guys did a Tiesto class. But I've got to tell you, once it comes on, I'm up, the fatigue's gone, and the adrenaline's up there. So it's great.
No, it's, you know, Mario, it's interesting. I will look ahead on playlists before I take a class on demand, and I see a song I love, but I'm not knowing where that's going to fall within the confine of the class. And sure enough, when it hits, I'm like, damn, they knew I was going to be at this point for this song. So that's what they're doing. That's by design, and that's one of the great things that music will do. It will impact you much more than any other form of entertainment, right?
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Mario, when you're building out your platform, is there data that you're collecting and displaying to your clients to help them make these types of curation decisions?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're not collecting data from the client side, if you like, any sort of user data from their end users. But one of the things we do understand is that curation is key. And sort of one of the advantages we had in this space, because we've got an existing application, our technology is being developed in such a way that the more it is used by somebody, the more relevant it becomes to that user. So it learns from what the user does. But I think as a business, we took a view that there were two things that sort of really help curation decisions. One is search, the other is discovery. So with the search, you know what you want. You search by artist, title, or genre. This returns your sort of standard metadata, which might be artist, title, genre, track duration, etc. You see what you like, and then you can add it to your playlist. However, when we're integrating the services and powering search results, we just don't use a simple text-based result. We have a popularity algorithm that captures previous user data within the service and applies a score at track level. So what this means is the results are displayed in an order that's likely to be most relevant, in this instance, for the instructor.
Great. Yeah, getting that kind of data is, I can imagine, is important, around, well, not data, but just knowing what songs are hot and what's moving culture, and being able to surface those songs is, I would imagine, is absolutely important. I know it's important for us as a music company in order to be able to surface those songs in a way that matters while those songs are mattering to the world. Quite honestly, help us make hits. Liz, what do you think is needed in the marketplace in order to ensure the widest range of fitness instructors can participate in the digital fitness ecosystem?
There's a couple things that are still necessary. I mentioned we have some work to do. I think as an industry, we're all working towards it. I see a lot of services that don't necessarily need millions of tracks that they, might get from a more blanket style catalog license, like what Peloton and larger services have done. But maybe they're looking more for something that's more genre specific, whether it's a dance instructional app that has a specific set of tracks, or maybe a couple specific genres that they're interested in, or Courtney was mentioning with respect to Calm, that for meditation and sleep and other use cases, the nature of the music that they're going to look towards is something a little more calming. Maybe they don't need the latest, most popular hip hop track out there, or the most popular pop track out there. So I think that as rights owners, labels and publishers are working with the fitness industry to help facilitate some of these types of licenses. It may be more flexible cost points to make it more scalable, so that the smaller services can come in and participate. It's really going to open up and allow for more revenue for the industry too, right? Right now, I think a lot of folks are getting on Zoom or trying to, as Mario said, or trying to figure out how to get their customers to connect their Spotify account, and the use case is just the experience isn't that great. So I think the first there would be, working together on more unique licensing models. I know that you and Universal, Brian, particularly work very hard with your artists to make sure that you're getting the artists more aware of the benefits of participating in fitness products. And I think that's really important. I've seen in some of my work with artists, them getting really excited about it. Not something you would have normally expected back in the day to have, rock and roll hip hop artists getting into fitness, but it's really happening, and they're seeing a lot of value from that. So I think increasing the awareness among performing artists and the benefits for them in participating in this is huge.
Right.
I also think that, as Mario was saying earlier, maybe some more B2B players in the market would be helpful. The number and the massive amount of requirement for these smaller services, it's not something that you or the publishers or all the labels can probably manage. And maybe up to a certain point, as Mario was saying, there's a need for B2B providers for some of the smaller services that don't have the bandwidth to go through a few months of negotiating and pay the amount of money that it takes to do a big, massive license. So that I know is, those are popping up, and that space is growing. I think the third area where I see the biggest sort of hurdles and pain points is on the publishing side. Most of the time when you are combining music with moving images, a sync clearance is required from publishing, the rights owners. And that process traditionally in TV and film, and now even in gaming and fitness, was, as I mentioned earlier, it was a difficult process. You have to go and do it on a track by track basis. Like the record labels, the music publishers now are working with their writers to grant blanket licenses. But even you could have all of your licensing done and still not know what you have available to use, because the process of data matching, and this can gets pretty down into the weeds quickly, but really there's a need for an easy way to make sure you, as a fitness provider, understand what music you have available to you once you have all those licenses in place. And there are some third parties out there that have been doing it for the music services for years and are really working on improving the way that they work with fitness companies, whether it's building out dashboards for some of the fitness companies and instructors to look at and search for songs on a BPM basis, as Mario was talking about a little earlier. I think I see that happening on the publishing side as well, where the fitness companies can go in, the athletes who are programming can go into these dashboards and see, based on what they've licensed, what's available to them. And then, I think again, there could be a need for maybe a larger set of pre-cleared works, or something, that a catalog, like a sandbox, that's available to smaller services who maybe aren't as particular about what music they need to get started. Right now, there's sort of different phases of approach to licensing. It's, okay, I'm going to go do it on a track by track basis, or I'm going to do it on a genre by genre basis, or I'm going to go get everything in the world and take a couple months and get the biggest catalog I have. But that can create some barriers to entry for a lot of the smaller services. So I think having working both with publishers and labels to have sets of pre-cleared tracks, maybe a few thousand as opposed to in the millions. That could be an area to allow more entrance into the market. And I'm talking more about the, smaller folks out there that, don't necessarily ever need to grow to the size of Peloton, but really want to have music.
Right on. Thanks for that insight, Liz. Having some licensing experts in the space, real music people that are able to streamline or help the process along is really, key. I 100% agree with that sentiment. When you're running a fitness company and you're managing a group of instructors, dealing with music would be the last thing on your mind, and having some help I could see as being absolutely essential. One thing is, one of the things that I really love about this space, health and wellness and music, is just the tight connection that musicians or artists have always had with fitness. Part of an artist's goal is to be not only an entertaining experience, but they worry about their body and how they look. And there's always been this really tight connection between an artist and staying in shape. And so, they're really excited, like everyone said, about this, about the fitness experience, and are really willing to participate in marketing programs that can benefit them and the fitness provider. And Peloton has done some really cool stuff in this space. Tony, can you tell us about how you partner with artists in creating marketing programs that benefit both parties?
Absolutely. So Brian, the most popular program we have by far is called the Peloton Artist Series. And the premise couldn't be more simpler, right? It's the idea of celebrating an artist through the entirety of a class, whether that's on the bike, on the tread, or on the yoga mat. We've worked with over 70 artists and have done over 200 classes. And the artists range from Smokey Robinson to Billy Joel to Diana Ross to Lady Gaga, Billie Eilish to Beyonce and the Beatles, right? It kind of runs the spectrum across the last 50 years. And there are two things. Yeah, we do have a lot of artists approach us because they're fans of fitness and they've become aware. But more than that, this is a legitimate platform for them that is different. There's 3.6 million members, but they're going to comes back to experiencing their music in a totally different way. And the way that we craft these, and they are partnerships, because every artist that we showcase, we do work with. And that could be working with someone like a Deadmau5 on co-curating a Power Hour class with Spotify that we host a class. It can be working with Chromeo and Big Boy and Dylan Francis on remixes working with the Elvis Presley estate in reintroducing their music to a new audience. And that's very crucial because although you have these huge bands, there's an audience out there that may not know that much about them. So they're discovering, and some people are rediscovering the love of music for some of these artists. And then you have a partnership like Beyonce, which is not only celebrating this multi-generational artist throughout the entirety of our platform, but it's also looking at that charitable component of working with the HBCUs that she has a relationship with and getting apps in the hands of students, which is important. And then it goes to working with one of the biggest bands in the world, the Beatles, in orchestrating a surprise and delight on Christmas morning for our members. So they can wake up and they discover, holy shit, I've got the Beatles now. And it opens up a whole new door on how they're gonna work out to music that they love. And I can't stress it upon when you love a song, a track, and that instructor loves that track, there's kind of that connection that you can't get anywhere else. So I think artists understand that this is not a streaming service. It's not a passive experience. It's one of these things where they're processing that song in a totally different way. And if you happen to like the song, you can like it, and then it'll go to your Spotify account. So there's ways that we're going to be we interact with music a lot more different than any other medium or any other form of fitness, for sure.
Thank you so much. We're out of time. This has been a really fun conversation and enlightening, and I want to thank everyone for participating. Music and wellness, they go hand in hand, and I know that without music, I would not be a sane person. So let's thank you so much, everyone.